In the past, we had no clear idea about how the human brain stores either information or the knowledge to process it, but now we have a glimpse of the possible mechanisms. The human brain consists of approximately 86 billion biological cells called neurons. Computer scientists have recognized this structure of human neuron as being very similar to hardware components called gates built with transistors. As in other simulations, we represent neurons as objects belonging to a specific class in object-oriented technology. So there comes the concept of artificial neuron that receives inputs, does some computations in the hidden layer and generates output, which creates a dynamic network called artificial neural network. Here each pixel is fed as input to each neuron of the first layer. Neurons of one layer are connected to neurons of the next layer through channels. Each of these channels is assigned a numerical value known as weight. The inputs are multiplied to the corresponding weights and their sum is sent as input to the neurons in the hidden layers. Each of these neurons is associated with a numerical value called the bias, which is then added to the input sum. This value is then passed through a threshold function called the activation function. The result of the activation function determines if the particular neuron will get activated or not. An activated neuron transmits data to the neurons of the next layer over the channel. In this manner, the data is propagated through the network. This is called forward propagation. In the output layer, the neuron with a high His value fires and determines the output. We the humans can see and identify these images pretty well. Our brain makes the vision easy. It doesn't take any effort for humans to tell apart that whether the image of an animal is a dog or a cat. But these process is quite hard for a machine to imitate. So for these reasons, automatic image recognition systems are developed. So let's see the concept of image recognition with CNN. Image recognition, in the context of machine vision, is the ability of software to identify objects, places, people, writing and actions in images. It is used to perform many machine-based visual tasks, such as labeling the content of images with meta tags, performing image content search, self-driving cars and accident avoidance systems. Next comes the concept of CNN. The convolutional neural network or CNN is a class of deep learning neural networks. CNNs represent a huge breakthrough in image recognition. They can be found at the core of everything from Facebook's photo tagging to self-driving cars. CNN consists of 3 layers: convolution layer, pooling layer, and fully connected layer. The convolution layer detects the presence of a set of features in the images received as input. It drags a window representing the feature on the image, and then calculates the convolution product between the feature and each portion of the scanned image. Next is the pooling layer. It is often placed between 2 layers of convolution. It receives several feature maps and applies the pooling operation to each of them. The pooling operation consists in reducing the size of the images while preserving their important characteristics. Last is the fully connected layer. The input to the fully connected layer is the output from the final pooling or convolutional layer, which is flattened and then fed into the fully connected layer. Now let's see how it works. The convolutional layer is the most important. It works by placing a filter over an array of image pixels. This then creates what's called a convolved feature map. It's a bit like looking at an image through a window, which allows you to see specific features you might not otherwise be able to see. Next we have the pooling layer. This downsamples or reduces the sample size of a particular feature map. This also makes processing much faster as it reduces the number of parameters the network needs to process. The output of this is a pooled feature map. There are 2 ways of doing this. Max pooling, which takes the maximum input of a particular convolved feature, or average pooling, which simply takes the average. These steps amount to feature extraction, whereby the network builds up a picture of the image data according to its own mathematical rules. If we need to perform classification, then we'll have to move into the fully connected layer. To do this, we'll need to flatten things out. A neural network with a more complex set of connections can only process linear data.